Hello everyone, my name is Rahul and I'm your instructor for this entire course. I'm so excited to have all of you with me on board on this journey. So let's get started. I know the concepts are pretty new and many people would know them already. Many people might be learning them right now or getting to know them right now. So let's have a quick overview where we are and what we are doing and what we have done so far. A very quick overview within two minutes. So let me share my screen. Perfect. So is my screen visible to everyone? Is my voice clear? Just give me a yes or no in the chat.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. So right now, let me show you where we are right now. So we are dealing with one of the major sections. That is the first section. The first section over here, this one, Introduction to Internet and Web Development. And it has multiple subsections under it. We covered one of them. One of the subsections we covered, which was Understanding Internet. Understanding Internet covered what is network, how Internet is set up, and how we as web developers can help in this web world. The second section that we're going to cover today is what are internet services, what is World Wide Web, what are search engines, and so much more. So let me pull up my whiteboard and show you what we did so far. And have a quick overview and quick recap for all those who were not able to join session yesterday and for everyone else also who wants a quick recap right now. So this is so much. So this is a quick recap of what we did in last session. The first concept that we covered was what is network. So what is network? Network is composed of 4 components. Just remember these 4 components and you will be good to go further. First, nodes and hosts. What are nodes and hosts? Your devices like computer, server, printer, anything that can be connected to internet. Second, your network media, all the cables that you use to transmit internet signals to your devices. Those are called network media, like your LAN wires, your radio waves, wireless Wi-Fi connections that you're using. Then third is your network interface. What is network interface? Network interface connects host to network media. I've written very small descriptions about them. They connect host to network media. So it is the medium between our network device and network media. So your integrated adapter that is already present in your laptop. You remember the port wherein you enter your LAN cable, that is network interface. And what are network protocols? Network protocols are set of rules that 2 devices have to follow so that they can communicate with each other. 2 devices or more than 2 devices can only communicate if they're following same set of rules, and these rules have been standardized and they have been set for us, and they have made the life very easy for us as developers. So we need to follow those rules while writing the code, while structuring our application, and while delivering to the client as well. So this was a quick recap of what is a network. Network has 3 conditions. So if you remember network has 3 conditions. Number 1, group of devices connected together, and number 3, able to share or receive information. Just check if any 2 devices are fulfilling this connection, these 3 conditions, then they are forming a network. Group of devices connected together, able to share or receive information. So this was network that we covered. The second topic we covered, what is internet? We studied 3 definitions as bunch of computers connected together, bunch of hosts connected together, different types of devices. Remember, we are using hosts over here. So different types of devices, and network of small networks. This is one small network. This is another small network. This is another small network. They all are connected to each other in one form or the other. So network of networks is internet. And last, how internet is spread across the world through submarine cables across the oceans. These submarine cables are laid across the oceans, and 95%, even 99% today, internet traffic is handled by these cables. So this was all that we did yesterday. What I want you to remember out of this is what is host and node, what are your network medias, and what are network protocols. Forget about network interface right now. You won't need it very soon in the lectures, but remember what are hosts, what are nodes, what are network media, and what is network protocol, and how they are forming to be a part of internet. So internet is network of small networks. These are group of devices connected together, able to share information with each other, and network of networks is called internet. So this was a quick recap that we did in the last lecture. Let's move ahead and see what we are going to do today. As I said, the topic that I'm going to touch today are what are internet services, what is World Wide Web, how internet services makes life easier for general public, how World Wide Web is different from internet, what are search engines, what are browsers, components and features of browsers. So let's move to our next topic very quickly. So let me just clear my screen. Okay. Yes. So these are the topics that I'm going to touch. Your internet services, World Wide Web, your search engine optimization overviews. What is components and features of browser? So let's move ahead and start with today's session. So now we know what internet is, right? Now we know what internet is. Many independent hosts that are linked together to serve billion of users via standard protocol. So what I'm referring over here, billions of hosts, they are linked together and following standard protocols. Remember these three words, billions of hosts linked together through network media and following standard protocols, they form the internet. Let me tell you a story. After learning what internet is, I got super excited and immediately set up my laptop. I got I was into my room and I was immediately set up my laptop and I connected the LAN cable and ready to explore the world over internet. Now what happened? I was sitting in front of my laptop watching the screen and waiting for some internet magic to happen. I was doing nothing. I thought that network devices are connected and now something would happen, waiting for internet to open web world for me. That won't help me, right? We all know how it works. That's where internet services come to help us. Just pay attention, depending on the information I want to access over internet, I have to click a particular application associated with it, right? So if I want to go watch a video, I have to either click YouTube or search on web browser for YouTube, then only I can watch. If I want to read a blog, I need to go over there. So for instance, if I give you some examples, if I want to send some files to my manager, or I want to read an email, I want to shop online, I want to attend an online video conference like we are attending right now, or read some blog. All of the above gets fulfilled because of internet services. All the services that we are enjoying for entertainment, for business purposes, everything, every sector are fulfilled by internet services. How is this happening? What is internet services? We have understood for file transfers, for accessing emails, for video conferencing, and browsing websites, right? But there's way more to it. Let me let me pull up another screen to have more clarity about it. If I have to define internet service, I would say internet service provides a way for data to be transferred from internet servers to your computer. Just look at this. Internet service is a way. These are internet services. Remember, emails, your web pages, your internet phone calls, IPTVs. These are these are type of methods or ways that provide you information from remote server to your local computer. Do not worry about what remote server is. We would be covering them in future lectures when we would be covering client and server architecture. As of now, just remember the term server over here can be explained as there is some computer out there in the world and you are sitting at your home, you want to access email, and that computer is holding the information that you want to access. And that computer is providing you that information. And how is that computer providing you that information? With the help of internet services. So internet services allow us, if I make it more simpler, internet services allow us to access huge amount of information. There is huge amount of information such as texts, graphics, sounds, softwares over the internet. All these come to our local computer, to our laptop, or to our PC through internet services only. So all the apps that we use to gather information, from reading text, watching videos, and sending files, accessing emails, browsing websites, they use standard protocols. So let's get a quick recap. Internet services are a method for data to be accessed or transferred from internet servers to your computers or devices. Right? It's a method for data to be transferred from servers to your computer devices, like the image shows. So the next point I want to take care of is that these apps are following certain protocols, certain rules. If the apps are following standard protocols, then only the apps can work under internet services associated with them. So in simple words, there are certain set of rules for video apps in order to display data. Similarly, standardized rules for files to be transferred, for emails to be accessed. If the apps follow these standard rules, then only they can function properly under one of the internet services. So I'm saying under one of the internet services. So that arises a general question. What are various types of internet services? Are there any more types? Do I have to take care of something else apart from this? There is, let's answer this question. So how many types of internet services are there? How they are categorized? How we can study them? I've made it very simpler for us to understand with beautiful illustrations. Let me show you the categories first. Number one, the communication services. Number two, information retrieval services. Number three, your file transfer services. Number four, World Wide Web. These are these are not all the services that I've discussed. These are the major services that we encounter in our daily lives. So there are many more services apart from these as well. These are major four I have picked up for us to understand, to get an idea that internet is different from internet services. We sometimes feel accessing emails is like we are that is internet. That is not internet. That is one of the service, and all the facilities that internet provide us that we are enjoying comes under these services. So let's discuss them one by one very quickly. The first service comes is the communication service. So if you use the internet, then you probably use internet-based communications to contact your families, your friends, or your colleagues, co-workers, etc. So what does communication service include? The communication service includes sending an instant message to a friend, sending emails to co-workers, placing phone calls on internet, to conduct video conferencing. Let's discuss few of them. So there are some common internet communication services that I'm going to discuss, like voice over internet protocol, your emails, video conferencing. So let's quickly define communication services in a very short sentence. So I would say it is a way that is needed to exchange data or information among individuals or organization. Let me quickly write that. So just focus on this word, exchange data from among individuals or organizations. So if we are exchanging data between individuals, between friends, or at corporate levels, we are using communication services offered by internet. So let's discuss some common internet communication services. First is voice over internet protocol. So let me show you an example. So what is voice over internet protocol? So you see this particular telephone and you see this new generation telephone as well. What's the difference? This telephone is connected through hard wire. There is a copper wire that provides the connection to this telephone, as we might have seen. And this particular telephone does not have any wire connection at all. This telephone operates over internet. A phone that operates using an internet connection instead of copper hardwires is called voice over internet protocol. So this is one of the services when we are using any device that operates over internet to make phone calls, that becomes voice over internet protocol. Many benefits of this: you can take this phone anywhere, wherever you have a connection, you can use it over there. And there are certain apps through which you can make phone calls right through your mobile phone or through your desktop app. But the service that you're using is voice over internet protocol. For instance, you have an application, suppose VoIP provider, and that is in your desktop. You have an application over there, you are sitting in front of your desktop, and you can make a call using this application. This application will get synchronized with this phone, and the call would be made through this phone indirectly. But you are sitting and making a call over internet using just an application. This is voice over internet protocol. So if we go into bit details and want to define each letter of it, we can do that. What is voice? Voice we can is a sound produced as speech. How voice over internet protocol is defined? If we go into if we expand this abbreviation, what is over? The over here is the passage. What is internet protocol? We have discussed internet protocol, set of rules used to transfer. So speech, trajectory, I would say, trajectory and rules. So in order to transmit speech over a particular distance following set of rules is called voice over internet protocol. Trajectory or pathway that speech follows. Speech is one of the media. When we're talking to somebody making calls, so that is speech. Speech traveling across some distance using set of rules is called voice over internet protocol. And all of this is happening because of internet. Remember, no hard wires attached. Moving ahead, the second one I want to discuss is emails. We all have used emails. Emails is a part of communication service. So it's like a paperless method for sending texts, images, documents, videos from one person to another. The messages that you can send can be in form of notes, and they can be stored on your disk. You can directly transport them into into your email as attachments and send them to another person. So there are various email providers, service providers in the market, like your Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo. So email we are familiar with, right? The third one I want to discuss that we are daily using is your your video conferencing. So what is video conferencing system? Video conferencing system allows two or more people who are generally in different locations. Remember, we are in different locations and we want to connect live and visually. That is happening through video conferencing. So using this communication service, numerous people are able to connect and collaborate face to face over large distances. There are many tools available for this purpose. The one that we are using right now is Zoom, your Hangouts, Skype, and so much more. Your even this Teams application is being used widely by corporate companies. So if we quickly redefine video conferencing, it's just a system that allows many people to connect and collaborate face to face, though they are sitting at like over large distances. They are not in front of each other, still we can feel. So always next time, whenever you're using any of the services, just remember you're using communication service. It is one of the service under internet. So it is not the internet. So let's move ahead to our second internet service, that is information retrieval service. So what is information retrieval service? On facing some query, when user goes to internet to find satisfactory answer, then the process that responds to provide that answer is called information retrieval service. I'll just repeat myself. Whenever you have any question in mind, you go to browser, you search something and you get an answer back. That process of getting satisfactory answer over internet is called retrieval service. So net surfing or browsing, like I said, you go on browser and search something, that is called net surfing or browsing. That is the process involved in information retrieval service for obtaining information from internet. So in simple words, if I say, it's a procedure for gaining access to information over internet. To get requested information or data, we need certain piece of software to access. So that is web browser. So just pay attention over here. These are softwares. These are not internet retrieval services. These are softwares that helps us access the internet retrieval service provided by the internet, the information retrieval service, sorry. These softwares helps us access the information retrieval service provided by the internet. Similarly, your Zoom, Skype are softwares that helps us access the communication service. So these are softwares. So we can if we make let's say flow chart, how that would be. So it's like a box model. If I make it, I would say this is internet, this is my service, and this is my software. So here lies my Firefox or Chrome, Edge, Opera. And here lies the service, the information retrieval service. And here lies the internet. So service is a part of internet. Software is a part of service. So that's how the hierarchy is followed. So let's look at a flow chart and understand with a basic example that how information retrieval service is being used by every one of us. So let me pull up the flow chart for you. So this is a general retrieval service flow chart or information retrieval flow chart, we say. So suppose there's a hypothetical situation and we see there's a frog in our room, and a person like me wants to get rid of it without harming the frog. Now here the first thing is comes the task. So first thing that comes here is task. So what's the task for us? There's a frog, I want to get rid of it. So my mind would say that task comes over here is get rid of frog in correct way. What is the correct way? Do not harm it, do not kill it, just get rid of it. That's what I want. So what is the information that I'm looking? So the information that I'm looking is capturing the frog without killing. So that is the information that I'm looking. I don't want to kill a frog. I just want to know how to capture it, how to get rid of it. Because once I capture it, I would be able to get rid of it. So now comes the query part. This is the part that we enter into the browser. When we open Chrome, we enter query into the browser. What's the query? First instance, I would say how to catch a frog alive. So my first query would be how to catch a frog alive. So what happens now? The query goes to the browser. Browser visits the data files on the internet. It searches all the data files for the relevant answer. And once data files have some answer, they provide back it to the browser, and browser gives that answer to us. Now there's a situation. The answer might be satisfactory, the answer might not be satisfactory for us. So in case I do not get a satisfactory answer, what's my next step? I go towards query management. What is query management? I have to redefine my query. So there might be some words that I need to change so that I can get a satisfactory answer next time. So for instance, writing alive is not giving the right answer. I could have written how to catch a frog without harming. So these set of words can help me get the satisfactory answer. The process will repeat again. I enter this query, the query goes to the browser checks the data files, and once the data files get the answer, the browser displays the satisfactory answer to us. If that is satisfactory, the process ends. Else, we again redefine our query and the process keeps on happening. So what I'm trying to say over here is that how one of the internet service, that is information retrieval service, involves so many things that we need to understand why we are on the internet. Like right set of words can help so much. How like we would be coming to this under search engine optimizations. For instance, when you type something, when you type the top tech companies, the right company that you want to see, if it comes on the top, that is because of the search engine optimization that many users have rated it to be the best company, and that company is seen on the top. So over here, what we need to understand is that the information retrieval service is the ability to access information on the internet. So why I have highlighted this particular word? The communication service was involving exchange of data. We were exchanging data in form of speech, in form of messages, and so much more. In information service, we are accessing the data. We are using the browsers. Every service has specific softwares associated with it. The softwares that have capability to access these services. So we need to take care of that. Are we using the right software to access right service? Our need of server, we have to check what need of service we are in and what kind of software we are using. So moving ahead, the next part I wanted to discuss is the file transfer protocol. So what is file transfer protocol? Your file transfer protocol, if I say, it was invented to solve the problem of transferring files over a network. So as the name implies, you've already studied protocol. These are set of rules, right? Set of rules. And what is file transfer? As the name implies, it means exactly the same. It is a set of rules for how files should be transferred among two devices, among two hosts. So let me show you an example. So set of rules for transferring files across the internet. So this is file transfer. Local host, what is local host? Host is a device. Local means at like your personal device. That is your personal computer, personal laptop, personal mobile phone. And this is web server. What was server that we discussed? Any computer out there in the world that holds the information that we are looking for. For instance, I want to check weather forecast. There is some server, there is some computer out there in the world that holds the information about the weather forecast. I just need to find the right way to access that server and get the information that I'm requesting. So we would be studying the request response cycle in future lectures, but this is a very general definition. So now how this file transfer protocol is different from your general file transfer. So for instance, if there is another laptop over here, your personal laptop, and you're transferring the files, this is called local transfer. Here nothing else is happening. You're not accessing any outside computer. You're just accessing your two computers. So right. So what makes the file transfer protocol difference? The differentiating key over here is that there are two computers. One is your local laptop or PC. The other one is the FTP server. In file transfer protocol, the other laptop or the other computer needs to be an FTP server. If you have created this laptop or your computer as an FTP server, you have written code to create it as a server, then it would be considered as a file transfer protocol. So let's quickly write bullet points for this. Number one, it enables the it enables the file transfer across internet using certain rules. So what are the bullet points? There is one computer, your local host. There is another computer, that is server. We call it remote host. It is also called remote host, local host and remote host. But we need not worry about these terms. The more we are using, the more we'll get familiar with it. And the last point, there are certain common applications. Still, we are using file transfer protocol heavily. What are those applications? Your banking services, you're downloading new web applications, and so much more. So common applications where FTP is heavily used, banking services, web applications when you're downloading. Why banking services are using FTP? There is a very beautiful reason, because in your file transfer protocol, whenever you're transferring files, that is always authenticated by username and password credentials. So these are secured using username and password. There's always a username that you need to enter. No one can access it without that. There's always a username and password. In your local transfer, the one that we discussed, by just transferring across our computers, we do not need any username and password. But in file transfer protocol, there's always security check with username and password. So like we discussed, for your information retrieval service, there are web browsers. For your communication services, there are emails and your Zoom, Skype, and other type of softwares. There are special softwares for file transfer protocol as well. One of those is FileZilla, very common. It's a free solution for FTP transfers. So using this software, you can access your FTP server and you can transfer from your local host to your FTP server. This is one of the softwares that people are using for file transfers. So with this, we have completed the three major internet services out there. What were those? Communication services, information retrieval services, and file transfer protocol. So let's move on to the fourth major one, that is World Wide Web. So World Wide Web. So I would say this is the invention that connected the world. World Wide Web is commonly called web. So this is commonly called web, and this is referred as collection of web pages. So if someone is saying that what is collection of web pages, the most general definition would come under World Wide Web is collection of web pages. So many people think that internet and web are the same. They are certainly not the same. The internet could exist without the web, but web as we know, it could not exist without the internet. So we saw that hierarchy structure, right? So this is, suppose this is our World Wide Web, this is our internet, and there are certain softwares to access it. So World Wide Web is a service of internet. Internet is not World Wide Web. So now question comes to my mind, what exactly is World Wide Web? So interesting fact over here is you are using it every day. So as we said, World Wide Web is collection of web pages, but it does not stop over there. There's so much more to it. Let's understand every component of World Wide Web step by step with amazing illustrations. So number one, a web page is a document. We'll just break down this. This is collection of web pages. How they are considered as World Wide Web? First, we are considering first component. What is a web page? Web page is a document written in special format called hypertext markup language, the HTML. So we would be studying HTML document in detail. So web page, just remember, web page is nothing more than a document written in HTML. How does it look? How does a document look when it is written in HTML? This is what HTML look like. Do not get overwhelmed by looking at the picture. We would study every component of HTML when we would come to the core technologies. I'm just giving you an example what a simple web page looks like. And when World Wide Web was designed, a web page was written simply in HTML, nothing more. So what is HTML? Or if you just go, this just tells me where to keep what stuff. I need to keep an image over here. I need to keep text over here. I need to keep a logo over here. I need to keep a video over here and so much more. So it just tells me what to keep and where to keep. That makes a web page that provides the information to the user. So just keep the definition with you. A web page, document written in HTML. So now for a web page to be seen on the internet, we created a web page on our computer. To make it visible to general public, we need the web page to be hosted by a web server. So let's understand with the flow a web page follows to become part of World Wide Web. So let's consider this. We understood what a web page is. To get the web page on the internet, we need a server. This is our server. We discussed what a web server is. Web server is some computer out there connected in the internet, which makes web pages available to anyone browsing the site. You open Google, you enter Netflix, you get the homepage of Netflix. How? There is some computer out there which holds the data of information that you're requesting, which holds the homepage information of Netflix. And that server, that computer is making that web page available on the internet. So whenever we browse something, we get the result. So now a web server, we understood what web server is. Now the website, what is a website? Website is made of multiple web pages connected by hyperlinks. So just look at this. We said collection of web pages is World Wide Web. Here we are saying collection of web pages or multiple web pages connected is a website. So that makes it contradictory. Don't worry, we will come to this. So first step, a web page was created using HTML. Second, it was hosted on the server. Third, your website can have multiple web pages. For instance, you open Wikipedia. Wikipedia will have so many web pages. There are multiple web pages of same website. So that is collection of web pages makes it a website. So now to access this website, you need a browser. This is a browser. This is a software that we need to access a website. We cannot access something if we do not have the right software for it. The browser allows us to access World Wide Web, allows us to access the websites that we are looking for. So what happens over here? I'll just quickly number them down. Number one, web page created, hosted on server, and if there are more web pages needed, we create a website, and that website is accessed by user using the browser. So what is World Wide Web then? Now, World Wide Web is network of all these, is collection of all these, your web pages, your websites, server, etc. So just remember, it's not collection of web pages, it's collection of so much more. In general terms, we say World Wide Web is collection of web pages, but World Wide Web is collection of so many other things, your web pages, your websites, your servers. And now these web pages are connected because of hyperlinks. The question comes, what is a hyperlink? These uh, these web pages connected to this web page is connected to this. And this happens because of hyperlink, right? So let me show you an example. So let me show you a beautiful example. Let me pull up my screen. Right. So over here, I've searched on Google the top athletes. I've written nothing else. I've searched on Google the top athletes, and I'm getting some of the options over here. This might be as per the current analysis they have done on their performances or on the terms of their earning and so much more. So let's see hyperlink in action. So hyperlink, as we said, is connection between web pages. And in other words, we can say it can connect one document to another. What does hyperlink help us to do? If I click onto this, this is not a hyperlink as of now. This is a hyperlink. The blue one that you're looking at over here is a hyperlink. What does it do? It allows me to move from the document being read to the target of the link. So just focus on this. I have read this document. I read about Cristiano Ronaldo, and now I want to move to Wikipedia to search something else. So this is the document that I have read, and this link is targeting me to the Wikipedia page of this athlete. And this is what hyperlink does for us. So if I click onto this, automatically I would be shifted to the Wikipedia page. So hyperlinks form a very important part of your HTML structure. So hyperlinks in web pages can be of two types. Number one, it can link your pages to another website, or it can link your web pages to another web page of same website. Let me show. So this is Google right now. This hyperlink is linking me to Wikipedia, not to the another page of Google. This is linking me to a web page of some other website. Just look over here. The website is Wikipedia, this one. So now if I click over here, for instance, I click footballer. Now that hyperlink, that footballer hyperlink took me to a web page of same website. I'm on the same website, but the web page is different. And this comes under the category of URLs, uniform resource locators. We would be studying them under how web works, what a URL is, how that different components of it. Right now, what I'm trying to explain is two types of hyperlinks. One takes you to the page of same website, and one takes you to the page of some other website. So let's go back to a whiteboard and see few other examples of hyperlink as well. So this is internal linking. Number one, you click a hyperlink, you go to the page, to another page of your own website. So I would say, let me just mark it down. This is website A. This is also website A, but this is A2 and this is A1. This is first page of website A. This is second page of website A. The website doesn't change. That is called internal linking. And if this is website A, this is website B. So for instance, this was Google and this is my Wikipedia. This is called external linking. Similarly, outbound links, this is same as external linking. And inbound links is when this is your website, this is your website, this is external website and this is your website. If any other link, if any outside link takes the user to your website, it is also called inbound link. So this is general. We are not considering if it's your website or some other developer's website. This is general website. Website does not change here. Website changes here. You have created your website and some other link in some other web page of another website is directing the user to your website. That is called inbound links. We need not remember every one of these. Just remember internal and external. It is much more important, and that would do the good for us. So I can, if we simply wrap it up, I would say it's like strands of spider's web that connects one line of thread to many others. So are the web pages of World Wide Web. They are connected in such a way that even outside pages can connect your page, even the internal pages are linked and so much more. So just like a spider's web, entire structure is being built. And navigating through hyperlinks is called surfing the web. We usually say I'm surfing on the web. What is surfing? It is navigating through hyperlinks from one page to the other. That is called net surfing. So this was hyperlinks. These were the four major internet services: communication service, information retrieval service, file transfer protocols, and your World Wide Web. Now, what's the difference between internet and World Wide Web? Let's take few examples. Number one, internet as we understood is network of hosts. And World Wide Web is one part of internet. It is one part. We understood through the box structure, the hierarchy structure, right? This is World Wide Web. This is internet. Now, internet has many other services like FTP that would work without World Wide Web. We do not need World Wide Web for file transfer. For file, we do not open any browser to transfer our files, right? We need the access to write server. So there are many services can exist without World Wide Web. And World Wide Web is one of the service. The same point over here. So internet came around 1960, World Wide Web in 1990. So internet was way before World Wide Web. Internet can exist without web. World Wide Web cannot exist without internet. So these were some pretty basic differences that we need to take care so that we do not confuse www with internet. That's the main agenda of these slides. Moving ahead, let's have some fun facts. Number one, to transfer data across, to transfer any files or to get request response across World Wide Web, we are using HTTP. It's file transfer protocol. It's hypertext transfer protocol. Why hypertext? Because we're using HTML as well. Hypertext markup language. And the protocols used to while accessing World Wide Web is hypertext transfer protocol. So remember, there are different set of rules for different purposes. One is file transfer protocol, one is HTTP, and one is TCP, transfer control protocols, or your IPs, so much more. So you need not memorize every one of them, just few that you would be using very often in your web developer journey. So HTTP is one of them. We would be using them so much in our backend part, especially when we would be checking the requests, response headers, and so much more. When we are using the get request or put request, everything, so much more. But that would be covered in backend part, the backend part. Need not worry right now. So just remember, World Wide Web, if you want to transfer files, the rules are called Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And we use browsers to access World Wide Web. So moving ahead, this was how World Wide Web and Internet uh, exist. And in general, how do you identify World Wide Web? If there's any service that you're using on the internet and you're accessing through browser, that is called World Wide Web. And we saw the flow chart. It consisted of web page. Just bring that up. Yeah, this one. It consists of web page hosted on a server, and collection of web page is called website. We access it through the browser. This is called World Wide Web, collection of everything, not just web pages, but so much more. And they are connected through hyperlinks. So these were the four primary internet services. So let's quickly watch a nice video regarding how World Wide Web uh, was born. So let me quickly pull that up. Yeah.
Rahul, before we jump in, I only had one question in my mind. Like when
Yes,
you're
Kalash.
talking about the hyperlink, so
Yes.
what is here the difference between a hyperlink and URL?
So URL is a website address. Let me show you. So this is URL. This is a uniform resource locator. The URL has so many things. It has your domain name. This is your domain name. This is your HTTP. You can see Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The S over here shows that it is secure, another level of security. So URL has so many other things. Hyperlink is just taking you to a web page wherein you can see the URL changes. If I click on operations, just focus over here, over URL. Once I click operations, just see the path is being added on and on and on. If I click conference, I'll go to the conference, this one. The path changes alongside other, like with domain, there are some other things that make it a URL. So that changes. The hyperlink is taking us to that web page.
Mm-hmm. So there was like, if we take a look into, for instance, we are having an image or maybe, a link into our website, which is directing into another website, right?
Okay,
Not
right.
internal, right, within that. So in that direction, that changes to URL, right? For
Right,
instance,
right. For instance, if I type Google and
yeah,
if I go and search for any image over here, and suppose if I type in images like same thing, top athletes, right?
mm-hmm,
And now see the domain is Google right now,
yeah,
and there are certain URL parameters. We call these as parameters.
yeah,
So now this just see this is Times of India. This one, the
uh-huh,
fastest man 100-meter record in Olympics, right? If I
uh-huh,
click, this is URL now. If I click this image or this text, if I click over here and if I click this URL, I would be directed to the another domain
uh-huh,
automatically.
okay,
Then the URL changes. So
uh-huh,
this is what we were discussing in hyperlink. Let me show you that. This one. This is called external linking. So you can see over here what is changing. This is green part. This is one URL. This is red part. This is another URL. The internal linking URL does not change. Only the parameters change.
yeah,
Parameters, what? The pathway, like the slash one. You can add another path, and so on. According to the hyperlink you're clicking. If it was conference earlier, then it would like google.com/conference would come over
mm-hmm,
here. So this is the pathway would change. Here, the entire URL changes. It is taking us to some another website. This one,
Mhm.
another website.
Okay, so here we are using the term hyperlink
Yes,
in a broader definition, which also includes the URLs as well when it goes to
right,
the when it
right,
comes
right.
to the external linking.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
perfect,
And
perfect.
we would be covering URLs in detail in the last section of our in the last subsection, how web works. Once
Okay,
this section is covered, we would be covering search engines. Post that, we would be covering client and server architecture, request response, and how architecture works. This
mhm.
would give you an entire image how a web page is being created, routed, and accessed by a user.
Yeah,
So, right now, why I am discussing hyperlink? Because this was used by the developers who created World Wide Web to connect the pages. They were connecting pages to create it a World Wide Web so that every user can have access to information. And the technology they used was hyperlinks.
there
So
was one question how
yeah.
hyperlinks are created, I
So
think.
that part would be covered in HTML. When we would move to the core structure,
Uh-huh.
core technologies, we would be covering. For instance, if you see this image over here, and if I clear my screen, these are hyperlinks, right? So this forms a part of our HTML document, HTML structure. How to create them, that would be deeply covered in the HTML part. Right
Perfect,
now, we need to
perfect.
understand the functionality and
Uh-huh.
the functionality of hyperlink.
Amazing,
Okay,
amazing. Thank you. Let's go and watch the video now.
perfect. So let's watch the video of how World Wide Web was created. So you just wait, sit, relax, and watch how amazing minds who created the World Wide Web tell their stories. That what was their journey, how they started, why they started, and where we have reached today. So I'll start the video. Do let me know if everyone is able to hear the sound. Okay. So guys, is everyone able to hear the sound? Just give me a yes.
No.
Okay, I'll quickly. I'll just. I'll share my sound again. So
Stories,
check now.
news.
Check if it's
Throughout
audible
history,
now.
humans have pursued
Can
new
you
and better ways to
can you hide the
Yeah. Is it is sound audible? I'll hide
yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah, all good.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll quickly hide. Hide the floating window, and I'll quickly restart my video. Okay.
ideas, images, stories, news. Throughout history, humans have pursued new and better ways to share information. Visionaries dreamed of using technology to organize and link the world's knowledge. Many tried. But the dream didn't reach everyone until this 21-page document changed the world. As soon as people hooked computers together into networks in the 1960s, they began developing user-friendly systems for navigating and finding information over those networks. Different networking standards evolved, and different navigation systems emerged to run over them. By the early 1990s, there were dozens, from networks for specialists to giant commercial systems with millions of users, including France's Minitel system and US-based CompuServe. But most of those systems were walled gardens. Users of one system couldn't join the same discussion groups with users of another system, or read the same newspapers, or easily exchange email. Meanwhile, the internet was beating out its competitors to become the dominant networking standard, thanks in part to funding by the US government. But because the internet was non-commercial, nobody had developed a polished navigation system to run on it. Most were experimental systems for professionals or researchers. One of these experiments was developed by British programmer and physicist Tim Berners-Lee at CERN, an international physics lab in Geneva, Switzerland. Frustrated by CERN's hodgepodge of documents and data in incompatible computer formats, he proposed a new system to share, track, link, and edit documents, regardless of what computers or programs were used to create them. He described his system as a web of nodes a user can browse at will. But his vision extended beyond the walls of CERN. Berners-Lee wrote, "CERN is a model in miniature of the rest of the world in a few years' time."
Somebody found his copy of my original proposal, and the one with the circles and arrows diagram, and on the top he'd written in pencil, "Vague but exciting."
Berners-Lee and CERN's Robert Caillot refined the proposal, describing specific features of what they ambitiously called the World Wide Web, a document format, HTML, to embed clickable hyperlinks in the text, standardized resource locators, URLs, to point to information, HTTP, a standardized way to easily transfer information such as web pages over networks. Berners-Lee fought to make the World Wide Web free and open, without patents or royalties to hinder developers or discourage adoption by users.
If somebody suggested I should patent the web, I'd have probably laughed at them and said, "Go away, it's all been done before. There's nothing novel in it."
By Christmas Day 1990, a prototype for the World Wide Web was complete. A browser and page editor, a server, and the first web page running on a NeXT computer. For the web to succeed, browsers were needed for other computers. CERN wouldn't fund that development.
This is not our main line, so this is another thing that we say to the public. There's another spin-off of what we do, and if you don't pick it up, it's your fault.
So Berners-Lee and Caillot asked Jean-Francois Groff to create a library of ready-to-use code and asked volunteers from the budding web development community to use it to write browsers.
There's a lot of evangelizing, helping people who subscribe to our mailing list, help them, understand how the web technology worked and how to implement things.
Programmers around the world responded, developing free browsers. In early 1993, Mark Andreessen and Eric Bina at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications released the Mosaic web browser. Images were now interspersed with text, not just in separate windows. It was reliable and easy to install. Manager Joseph Harden hired teams to create web browsers and servers for the PC and Mac. Mosaic introduced millions of users to the World Wide Web. Silicon Valley entrepreneur Jim Clark saw commercial potential. He recruited Andreessen to start Netscape and hired Bina and many of the Mosaic programmers as co-founders. Their mission? Kill Mosaic with a faster commercial version of the browser. Netscape's Navigator browser and its server were wildly successful, bringing the web to tens of millions of users. Netscape dominated until Microsoft seized the browser market with Internet Explorer. By the mid-1990s, the World Wide Web, running over the Internet, had trounced or absorbed most of the proprietary systems. Today, over 2 billion people, a quarter of the Earth's population, use the web. With a click and a few keystrokes, we connect to nearly anything we want to see, learn, buy, or discover. It took the dreams of visionaries to open worlds of knowledge online. We connect to those dreams each time we type www.
Amazing, right? So many intelligent minds working on just to make life easier for everyone. So amazing. Okay. Let me just get back to our curriculum fast. Okay. Just a moment, guys. I'll just quickly go to our curriculum. I'm just pulling up the right screen so that we can continue further. Okay. Perfect, perfect. Now this brings us to our next lecture, that is, what are search engines? So let me hide. So any questions regarding what is World Wide Web before we move to search engines? Any questions regarding that? Okay. So let's move ahead. No questions, I guess. Okay. So what are search engines? So you are using search engines every day, every hour people are using, every second someone is using search engine. So no, it's so amazing that how people all over the world, they turn to search engines to ask sometimes most trivial questions and sometimes incredibly important questions. So it becomes a huge responsibility for search engines to give them the best and most accurate answers, right? Because if we are asking some question, we are expecting that the answer should be clear, crisp, and accurate. We do not want any vagueness in that. We do not want anyone to give us any random answers. We always want very clear, crisp answers. So let's start with a very basic question. Suppose I go on Google or some other browser and I search something. For instance, I write, uh, how long does it take to travel to Mars? Now, when I click search, when I click this button, the search button, I would get some results. So supposedly I get these results. So now where did these results come from? And why were they listed in such an order? Why is this on top? Why is this not, on second position? Why is this at the bottom? And where did these results come from? We are going to study that particular aspect under these lectures. So, okay, let's dive in and see how search engines turned your request into a result. Just pay attention. This is my request. This is my request, and these are the results that I'm getting. How search engine helped me turn my request into response? Let's understand that. The first thing that you need to know the first thing that you need to know is when you do a search, the search engine isn't actually going out into the World Wide Web to run your search in real time. So this is very important. The search engine does not find these pages in real time. It does not go into the web and search every page out there. Why? That's because there are billions of websites on the internet, and hundreds are more being created every single time. There are so many websites that if the search engine starts looking for the web page when we have asked the query at that point of time, then the search engine would take forever. It would take forever for search engine to find that answer. So at the time we asked a query, if the search engine is looking for answers at that point of time, it would take forever for the search engine to provide us with the right answer. So to make the search engine faster, to make the search faster, search engines are constantly scanning the web. They are constantly scanning the web. Even when we are not asking any question, we are not doing anything. Search engines are working at their servers, at their software platforms, and constantly scanning the web in advance. They are recording the information that might help any user with their search later. For instance, they're constantly searching for some information related to some other keywords and so much more. So whenever a user wants to travel, they can provide the answer at that point of time because they've already searched it pre-hand. So we can say search engine is constantly searching the web in advance. So that is why when you searched about traveling to Mars, the search engine already had what it needs to give you an answer in real time. So when you asked this question, the search engine was already ready with which site to refer you, which links to refer you, which images to refer you, because it has already done its search. And how this search is happening, how it works, let's understand that. So now the internet is web of pages. As we saw, web of connected devices. The World Wide Web is collection of web pages, and they are connected to each other by hyperlinks. We discussed this, that collection of web pages connected through hyperlinks. What is happening over here is search engines are constantly running a program, and that program is actually called Spider. Search engine has a program which is called Spider. Because the web pages, the way web pages are linked, it looks like a spider web. So search engine has a program called Spider. What does that Spider does? That crosses through these web pages to collect information about them. Now this software, consider this as software. This is not a real spider. This is a software that travels from one web page to the other and to the other and so on using the hyperlinks. So every time this spider finds a hyperlink, it will follow it until it has visited every page it can find on the entire internet. So behind the scenes, spider is constantly traveling. Just see, first the spider was here. Initially it was here. It went to this web page through hyperlink, and the process keeps on happening till our spider program is finding a hyperlink on the web page over the internet. Spider keeps on traveling, just target this yellow lines. The blue lines are turning into yellow because the spider has already traveled across these web pages. So look at this web page. Almost outer two circles have been traveled by the spider program. What is spider doing? It is analyzing the web pages that are linked to each other. So what happens now is whenever for each page the spider visits, it records some information that it might need for a search by adding it to special database called search index. So what's happening over here? The spider program has a separate database. There is a database. What is database? Database is a place where you can store some data. So the spider, whenever visits to a particular web page, it records some information, which information that user might need, and that spider stores it into a separate database called search index. So this is how a program is traversing across the web pages, and all this happens due to search engines. This is what search engine actually is, but there is way more to it. Now we have the data in search index. Now let's go back to our original question and see if we can figure out how search engine came up with the results and order of the results. So let's go back to our original question. How long does it take to travel to Mars? This was our question. So now we have a database ready with search indexes. The search engine looks in each of these words in the search index to immediately get list of all the pages. What I'm saying is search engine will store the information that how many times the word how is being used and where it has been used, how many times the word long is being used and where it has been used, how many times the word does has been used, and so on for every word. And for this query, how many pages, let me just clear it up. For this query, how many pages are actually there? These are the total number of pages that search engine found based on each word is being used on the web. So if we consider this, search engine will have millions of pages with it. Now search engine wants to determine which are the best matches that he or she wants to show. Search engine wants to make sure it shows you the right information, the best information out of all these available results. How does the search engine does that? One way we can think the search engine may guess what we are looking for, but that's not the right way. Search engine can't guess what exactly we are looking for unless it has some real data based on facts. So this comes to a particular algorithm that search engine follows. What is an algorithm? Algorithm is a set of programs being created to extract out a particular functionality. What functionality we need? We want to get the best matches out of these results. And for that, the software developers, the web developers, and a huge team created certain programs, set of rules to find the best matches. That algorithm is called the ranking algorithm. What does ranking algorithm do? It ranks the pages based on what it thinks you want. So search engine will analyze based on what search engine thinks we want and rank the pages accordingly. So how the ranking algorithm works? Let's see. The search engine ranking algorithm may check certain details. So your question was, how long does it take to travel to Mars, right? This was our question. So how a ranking algorithm works, suppose this is the first web page search engine crawled, that spider crawled. This is the first web page. And here it found that travel to Mars, if I'll just zoom in a little bit. Okay, just let me pull that slide. Yeah. So if I just see the travel to Mars over here, just see the travel to Mars is directly found in the title. It checks that out. It finds the same keywords. Travel is there, Mars is there, to is there. So there are certain parameters that ranking algorithm is checking. And how it is checking? By the spider program that is crawling through the web page and finding the words that are matching our request. And it moves to second web page. It finds the exact line. How long does it take to travel to Mars? Title is correct. Sequence of words. How long does it take? Same order is correct. Same keywords are being used. Similarly, if we come to sequence and keywords over here, we find sequence is right, keyword is right, but the title does not match with any keyword that we use. And over here, the only thing that matches is the Mars keyword. The title does not match, the sequence does not match. It's a Roman mythology page, and here they've only written Mars. It matches one of the keywords. Okay, so if I'll just zoom out. So what's happening over here is the ranking algorithm is checking series of parameters. The algorithm written by software developers for search engine to find out the best page. The question over here is to find the best page matching our query. How does search engine does that? Using the ranking algorithm. Ranking algorithm is checking certain parameters. If it is matching, it is saying, okay, this is not in my list, this is again okay, and so on. Accordingly, the ranking algorithm helps to determine which pages we want to see and which pages the user doesn't want to see. So it checks, okay, this matches, I can show this, this matches, I can show this, this matches, but this does not match at all. Why? Because this was least preferable. Only one keyword is matching. No title, no sequence. Over here, we find sequence and keyword matching. Over here, we find all three matching. Over here, we find two of them matching. So it rates accordingly. It rates the pages 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the ranking of page. This is done based on the spider crawling that is happening behind the scenes. It checks the title, sequence, keywords after getting the query from the user. So this is how it provides us the pages. Behind the scenes, it has already gathered the list of pages within its database. Out of that, based on this ranking algorithm, it picks the best one. So how big companies are using this feature of the search engine? Suppose we take Google. Now, Google invented the most famous algorithm for choosing the most relevant result for search. So, okay, let me show you the example. Yeah. So how Google is using this functionality? So Google created an algorithm for itself. Now what Google is doing, Google is taking into account how many other web pages linked to a given page. Remember, in the spider case, we discussed every web page is linked to some other web page and so on. And using these hyperlinks only, the spider is traveling from one web page to the other and so. So remember this concept. It's very important to understand this one. So now Google categorized its web pages into 3 categories: best, okay, bad, for instance. And suppose there is a web page over here. This is a web page that user wants to access. Now Google will decide, should this web page should be at bottom? Should this web page be at middle? Should this web page be at top? This is how search engine optimization is working. How the search engine is checking for title, sequence, and keywords. So if other web pages recommend this web page, accordingly, the particular user query or page would be ranked. So if this web page was recommended by least number of web pages, it would be at the last options of Google search. If these number of web pages recommended this web page, then this would be at middle. If these number of web pages recommended this web page, then this would be at top. So for instance, we saw the example of athletes, right? If I go on top athletes, and if I click on this one and this one, every time, but I am being recommended Wikipedia. Why I am being recommended Wikipedia? Why Wikipedia is the only option I'm getting at top? Or why Forbes one is getting at top? Because all the other web pages out there in the world said that Wikipedia is best source to get information about this athlete. Wikipedia is best source to get information about this athlete. That's how Google's search engine ranking algorithm is working. The other web pages have ranked. Suppose this is Wikipedia. The other web pages have ranked Wikipedia as one of their best resource information. More the number of web pages recommend a particular web page through hyperlink, the search would be at top. That search result would be at top. So that's why Wikipedia is always on top. You must have seen when you type how to install Windows into your computer, you always get Microsoft official documentation. Why? Because that has been considered as the best resource by other web pages. So that's how ranking algorithms are working. And this algorithm was called PageRank. This algorithm, why was it named PageRank? Not because the other pages are ranking a particular web page. It was named after the founder of Google, one of the founders, Larry Page. So he was one of the founders, and after his name, this algorithm was named. So this algorithm is called PageRank algorithm of Google. So whenever you search something and you find a particular website is coming always on top, or you want your web page to be always on top, then you need to make sure that you're following this recommendation process, that other pages are recommending you or not. Are you producing that good quality content that everyone is recommending? Go visit this website, check this website out. Such an amazing content. So for instance, if I write any problem, coding problem, the first page I get is Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is a developer community wherein the developers provide answers to anyone's coding problem. So if you're facing any problem in code and you want to check that, you get the information of Stack Overflow. So that's how ranking algorithm is working. This was one of the examples. Moving ahead, the next part comes is spammers. The spammers are hitting the internet. Whenever you click a malicious website, you may get a virus. How spammers are targeting you? They are checking which web pages are on top, and they're always trying to put their malicious websites on top of that web page. So these websites, they are malicious, and spammers are trying to put it on top of this, that the first searches should appear these malicious web pages. Because as a user's perspective, the user will click first 2, 3, 4 pages. And then if that is malicious, the user will get a virus or some other kind of problem in their PC. How to avoid it? Always check the URL before clicking onto something. If the URL has this protocol or not, hypertext transfer protocol, And this extra S is the secure. This is the secure part, additional security. If the URL is having HTTPS, then most definitely it is not malicious one. Moreover, the search engines are also being optimized to detect if the particular page is malicious or not, and they try to remove them before they appear on your website. The last part about search engines that I want to discuss is that search engines are always evolving. Always evolving. How? Because today's search engines are even using information that you haven't explicitly provided them. They're using information which you have not provided. Let me show you an example. Suppose you searched for dog parks. You're searching for dog parks, and the result that you get is dog parks nearby. From where this nearby came? You never gave your location to search engine. You never provided them your uh, navigation details, but still they are providing you dog parks nearby. This is what tells us that how evolution in search engine is happening so fast. They're using the data which has not been provided as well. So that makes so much easier for every user. He just needs to type in the effective keywords and he would get the best possible results, right? So now if we move ahead and see that for a particular search engine, uh, for instance, let me show you a very beautiful example. Let me pull up that screen. Allow me just a moment, guys. Yeah. So let's move on to the next article. What does this mean? Now, search engines also understand more than just words on page. How? Let me show you. Here, search engine is understanding more than words. If you type in fast picture, it would give you an information about an athlete of baseball. If you type in large picture, it would give you information about a utensil in your kitchen. So search engines are understanding more than words. You're just typing in fast picture and the search engine is contemplating under its softwares and algorithms. Okay, the fast picture must mean an athlete. You never told this is an athlete. You never told this should be an utensil. Automatically using the keywords, search engine is making your life easier while browsing. So why this is happening? The search engines use machine learning algorithms. So how it is happening? It enables the search engine to compute, to learn what the word actually means. So machine learning in itself is a very big topic. We need not get into it, but how search engines are making use of it, they're able to understand what exactly a word means. If someone has attached travel with a Mars, that must be a planet. That is not some mythology page or some character, a Roman character. So that's how machine learning and artificial intelligence are being used continuously by search engines. So the internet is growing exponentially fast. I'm telling you, it's growing so much fast, and you should be so happy that you're becoming a part of it. And as a user who understands what's happening under the hood, it's very important to understand what's happening under the hood. Then only we'll be able to invoke that interest. Okay, there's so much we can do. So if the teams that design search engines are doing their jobs right, I'm telling you, the information you want is always just few keystrokes away. It's just few keystrokes away, nothing more. So guys, this was the today's session. We covered the four categories of internet services, World Wide Web in detail, and search engines. So let's take few questions if you have any questions before wrapping up today. Okay.
Any questions?
Anything you want me to explain real quick? Anything? Any slide you want to see right now? Anything?
Yeah, while the issue of search engine optimization is itself an area of a huge business, um, but it's good that we at least know how these search engines work. It was amazing, very useful.
Thank you so much, Talash. So why I'm talking about search engine is because whenever we are creating website and we're delivering it to client, we need to make sure that whenever that website is hosted on a server by backend developers or some other developers as well, it should have the appropriate keywords associated with it, which would bring the search engine on top. Because we discussed the search engine has three parameters, right? Your title, keyword, sequence. So if these three are matches with the website, our website is having all these three keywords or three categories fulfilled, most probably we would be at top list of the websites appearing on Google search. So it's very important for a developer to understand what a search engine should be and how it works under the hood, what ranking algorithms are, and so much more. So that was from me, guys, for today's session. Any questions, feel free to ask. We will take questions or any doubts for 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up from my side.
I think no questions.
So we have covered the second subsection. The third subsection would be client-server architecture, then request response cycle, and how web works. So let me pull up that slide. Yeah, this one. So we have covered introduction to web. What is browser is a very small topic. We'll cover that. This is the major section, and then how web works. How web works. So this part would cover your URL, your DNS, your IP addresses, what all these are, what is your ISP, Internet Service Provider, how entire flow is happening using all these technologies. So that would be the last subsection of this section. Most probably in 2 or 3 lectures, we would cover all these subsections.
Yeah, there was one question.
So as Ahmed is asking, why we put HTTP at top and then www. So HTTP, as we discussed, it's Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this is the set of rules that every web page has to follow across the World Wide Web. So these set of rules, if are followed, then the web page is authentic and secure. If these rules are not followed, there are sites which do not have HTTP written in front of them. Those sites are usually malicious. The slide that we saw in search engines, I'll just pull that up. Yeah, not this one. Yeah, this one. So if a particular slide is not having, a particular website is not having this, most likely 99% it's malicious. 99.9% it's malicious. And the forward slashes at the rate that you're saying, those are to differentiate between URL parameters. For instance, URL parameter, if I say HTTP dot dot, and if I say domain name, here comes the domain name. And here comes the path. To differentiate it from the domain name, we are using these characters. So that web can understand, okay, this is the path, this is the home page of website address. It might be google.com, it might be netflix.com. So if you visit to Netflix, initially you would not get any of this. But once you click on a video, you would get the path of that video. So that's why we're using @ search and so much more within this. This is just to differentiate variety of parameters being used in URL. So we would be covering all the components of URL in the last part of this subsection, last part of this section, how web works. So right now, just HTTP set of rules and required for every web browser to understand, so that files can be transferred in terms of web pages between one computer or the another. You're welcome.
Yeah, if
Ah,
there is no questions, let's wrap it up for the day.
Thank you so much, everyone. And it was wonderful session with all of you on board. I'm so happy that we've started this journey. And there's so many amazing concepts to learn. I'm very happy to be part of this journey with you. So, Talash, anything you want, like anything you want to say, or should
No,
I? Should I?
we are all good. And I'll share the recording later on. That's it. And see you all tomorrow.
Tomorrow, do we have session, Talash? Just
Oh,
to
no,
confirm.
no, no. Oh, let me make this announcement quickly. So on Friday, we won't have class Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Monday we will be back. Until then, you can watch the videos that some of you might be looking into it. So yeah.
Is it
Thank
every
you.
Friday or just this Friday?
Every Friday. So we are running Monday through Thursday, 4 days a week. We will be
Okay.
having our regular classes. Once we jump in and move out to our, regular full stack web development, then we will have 2 days of optional recap and classes as well.
Actually, it's good for me. It's work for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. See you all. Bye. See you on Monday.
Okay. See you. Thank you.